What if I told you that the world is on the brink of a financial awakening, and it all revolves around gold? In a world where currency values fluctuate wildly and economic uncertainty looms large, there's one asset that has stood the test of time: gold. Over the past few years, central banks around the globe have been accumulating gold in record amounts, and many experts wonder why. What do they know that we don't? As we step into the coming years, especially looking ahead to 2027, the actions of these financial giants are raising eyebrows and sparking curiosity. Have you ever wondered if there's a hidden agenda behind this gold rush? Let's dive deeper into this fascinating trend and uncover the motives, strategies, and potential implications for us all. Picture this. In 2020 alone, central banks purchased over 3,600 tons of gold. To put that in perspective, that's more than the combined gold reserves of some countries. This is the highest level since the global financial crisis in 2008. Why this sudden surge? First, let's understand the backdrop against which these banks are operating. Global economic stability is increasingly a thing of the past. Trade wars, political unrest, and the lingering effects of the pandemic are creating a perfect storm that makes traditional currencies less reliable. As a result, central banks are looking for a safe haven, and gold, with its history as a store of value, has become the go-to solution. But that's only part of the story. Another critical factor is the rising concern over inflation. With countries around the world printing money at an unprecedented rate to stimulate economies, there's a growing fear that the value of paper money is eroding. In fact, a recent study showed that inflation could reach up to 8% in the coming years, leading many to believe that holding gold could be a hedge against this devaluation. Imagine a world where your savings could lose purchasing power overnight. That's a reality many are starting to face. Now, here comes the twist. What many don't realize is that gold isn't just an investment for the central banks. It's part of a larger strategy. Let's talk about the geopolitical dynamics at play. Countries like China and Russia, for instance, have been aggressively increasing their gold reserves to bolster their financial standing on the global stage. They see gold not just as a safeguard, but as a tool to shift the balance of power away from traditional Western economies. The implications of this are massive. Picture a chessboard where every move counts. This is the modern financial landscape, and every pawn counts, especially gold. As these countries accumulate more and more gold, it could lead to intensified competition and even conflict. Now, let's shift gears for a moment. Have you ever considered how this trend impacts you, the everyday citizen? It's easy to think that what central banks do is far removed from our lives. But what if their decisions ripple through the economy, affecting jobs, prices, and investments? The truth is, when central banks buy gold, they're sending a message to the entire market. We're preparing for tough times ahead. This could trigger a widespread panic, leading to a rush for gold by investors desperate to safeguard their wealth. In essence, the central bank's actions could create a self-fulfilling prophecy, pushing prices higher and making gold even more attractive. Now, imagine standing at the forefront of an economic shift. If you knew something was coming, wouldn't you want to be prepared? That's exactly the sentiment driving many investors today. Gold might just become the next it asset, but here's where it gets even more interesting. As we approach 2027, predictions abound about how the financial landscape will change. Some economists believe that by then, the price of gold could soar, driven by both increased demand and a potential crisis that forces hands. It's a classic case of supply and demand, where limited resources meet increasing interest. But what does this mean for the average person? What if you're not a gold investor? The reality is that the more central banks hoard gold, the more it becomes a symbol of status, security, and financial power. Even if you have no physical gold, it will likely influence your investments, mortgages, and loans, directly or indirectly. So, what can you take away from all of this? Keep an eye on the gold market. Whether you're an investor or just someone curious about economic trends, understanding why central banks are making these moves will give you insight into the larger narrative of financial history unfolding before us. Don't wait to react, prepare yourself now. In conclusion, central banks stockpiling gold isn't just about securing their own future. It's a fascinating interplay of economics, geopolitics, and human behavior. The golden age of gold may just be around the corner, and the stakes have never been higher. As we stand on the cusp of 2027, the choices made today will pave the way for the future. Watch closely and remember, in the game of finance, knowledge is your greatest asset. So, what part of this story surprised you the most? If you found this dive into the world of central banks and golden lightning, make sure to subscribe for more mind-opening ideas that unravel the complexities of our financial future. What part of this story surprised you the most? If you like this, subscribe for more mind-opening ideas.